All right, come on back in, everybody. Come on in. We are back for our second session, and the brothers are off on the stage, so to speak, and they are preparing and ready to come to the forefront and just share what do men really want. But before they come, I want you to take a moment and share, tag, like this post, but please share it because somebody needs to hear it. I need all of my single sisters. I need you to share this post. I believe this lesson tonight for us is going to be absolutely life changing. And so please go ahead, share this post, like this post, make sure you tag somebody and let them know that we're back on and we are in receiving mode. And so we want you to get ready to position yourselves to have an understanding and ask the question, answer the question, what do men really want? I know some are asking, well, why can't the ladies tell what they want? Well, we'll have our opportunity. I promise we'll have our opportunity. But for tonight, we're going to listen. Now, we may not always like what we hear, but it's good for us to at least know. And so this is our opportunity to gain some understanding tonight. These brothers that are going to be sharing tonight, we have all shared in some shape, form, or fashion in ministry. Brother Anderson, Marcel Anderson, he's going to basically introduce himself through this presentation on tonight. But he is an author, he is a musician, a songwriter, singer, recording artist. He is a mentor to young men. He's an all around good guy, and he is representing our single men tonight. We also have Brother Donnie Thurman, youth pastor there at Palmer Grove Baptist Church out of Shelby. And we already know Brother Donnie, he's an all around good guy. He comes from my alma mater, Gardner Webb, athlete there. And but he is a phenomenal voice in the kingdom. My brother, he's preached for us before. He's representing the young married men tonight. And we have another who's trying to come in, Pastor Cornelius Atkinson. We are having some technical issues with him, but he is a phenomenal preacher, pastor, mentor there in Charlotte, and he represents our older married men. And then we have none other than our moderator for tonight, none other than Dr. Jonathan Pack, and he's representing the single again men tonight. Now, he is someone who is very near and dear to my heart. I serve with him with the Jordan Partnership, and he's the one who can pull my tag every now and then, and he does it quite often, as a matter of fact. And I just appreciate him. Pastor Atkinson just got on, and so I think we are ready to go. I am going to play this introductory video, and after you will have received that video of that formal introduction of them. And there's a little snippet in there I want you all to pay attention to as well, because it's going to bless your heart tonight as well. But after this introductory video, the next voices that you will hear will be the Men's Panel 2020 for Fresh Fire 2.0.
And the danger with being so independent is he will not be there for you because there's no need for him. That a man does have to feel like there's a place for him to protect. And so you cannot get mad when he doesn't value you as fine china when you operate as styrofoam. And so even though you are strong, it is very wise for you to know how to make sure you communicate that strength in a way that still affirms his manhood and his desire to be needed.
Truth and honesty, dating for myself, I do have in my mind what I picture that I desire. But I have dated size 2, and I've dated 22. Glory to God. But the problem was, I didn't have a problem with her 22. She had a problem with her 22. And because she had a problem with her 22, made me not want to be with her 22. So if she's good with what she brings, then I'll be good with what she brings.
There's some private boundaries. I'm speaking to the American. You know, just because you're in the restroom, you just don't need to bust up. All that, the private space, but keep maintaining yourselves as well. You know, keep your feet done. If they were done when we met. We don't want you scraping our leg, you know, later on. And those things are very, very.
Whatever he's doing, be proud of that and encourage him in it. And if there are some places that need some correction, there's a way you can do it without being demeaning and destructive and evil. And okay, all right.
Now get ready for our 2020 Fresh Fire Men's Panel with this year's guest panelist, Pastor Cornelius Atkinson, Senior Pastor of the Heights Ministry of Charlotte, North Carolina. Minister Donnie Thurman, Youth Pastor of Palmer Grove Baptist Church of Shelby, North Carolina. Recording artist and author Marcel Anderson, founder of Accelerating Men nonprofit of Cary, North Carolina. And finally, our moderator for the evening, Dr. Jonathan L. Pack, Senior Pastor of Bridge Builders International Church of Arlington, Texas, and the presiding prelate of the Jordan Partnership. And they are answering the question tonight, what do men really want? So come on, help me welcome our 2020 Fresh Fire Men's Panel.
All right. We are jumping right in to our incredible conversation. Let's first pause and thank our conference host, Overseer Kimberly Moore, for this opportunity. Job well done already. We definitely appreciate you for giving us this platform to share with you and yours. And then for these great men of God who I'm so humbled to share this platform with. Thank you all for accepting the invitation to share. When we have conversations like this, sometimes people want all the answers, but every man is not the same. We can't answer everything, but from our perspectives, we want to do our best to be able to give some answers and some solutions and even some confirmations to some people who are watching tonight. So again, all you who are watching, comment, share, give someone else an opportunity to be able to enjoy this incredible conversation. And so again, we have older married, we have younger married, and we have single that's on. So I want to respect rank. So we're gonna start with older married. Dr. Atkinson, thank you for being on, sir. I'm gonna ask all three of you the same question. And here's the question. When we ask, what do men really want? If you can sum it up in one word, I know that's a challenge. But if you can sum it up in one word, we'll start with Dr. Atkinson, then we'll go to Thurman, then we'll go to Anderson, and then we'll go to the next question. But in one word, what would you say you really want?
It is a blessing to be on with you and Minister Donnie and Marcel tonight. And I would say in one word, what men want, affirmation.
Affirmation. Wow. Okay, Donnie?
I tell you what, Dr. Atkinson, thank you for taking my word, man. That right there, that's the word. But to follow the guidelines that Dr. Pack has set, I would say respect. Men want respect.
Okay. All right. Dr. Anderson?
Yes. I had to get one word. Out of the statement that I was going to share, I'll pick and choose the word that I was going to share. Men want something. Men want something. They want something.
Okay, now you can't just give me that.
Well,
Oh,
when you
oh,
to say that, I was going to say a statement, open up and say, not all men want the same thing,
Right.
but all men want something.
something.
Whatever that is, that may, they may not desire the same thing, but they do desire something out of their life, right?
Yeah,
Whatever that looks like can all depend on the upbringing of a man, his mindset, the way it's shaped, his experiences. It can be good or bad. And for me, I believe the experiences of a man's past can dictate or determine what he wants. So that's how I kind of really drove into that.
absolutely. Great response, Pastor Atkinson. You've been married how many years?
18 years.
18 years. Okay,
Wow.
so after 18 years, do you want the same thing now that you wanted 18 years ago?
Well, if I can say, Dr. Pack, to that, this is also the Lord has blessed me to learn from the mistakes I made before.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, and allowed me to find a wife that He had designed for me for this particular season after I had learned from prior mistakes. And so
Gotcha.
in that affirmation, I still will say yes from this standpoint that as men, men are made up generally. Most men are made up of ego.
Right.
Most men are
Right.
in essence, we not earn by the sweat of our brow.
Right.
So that means we're producers. And the Bible says the man that finds a wife, meaning that to find something you must search, and search from a particular aspect of manhood is to go looking for, quite like a hunter, a provider. All right. And so in that, as a husband, what the desire is that you are affirmed, that affirmation from your wife. In that, and it grows, it matures. Okay, so the things that affirmed me early when I was in my early 30s doesn't affirm me the same now that I'm in my 50s.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and the things that my wife used to affirm me when I was 32 isn't the same thing now that affirms me now. So it does grow, it does mature.
Gotcha.
That affirmation as well, Dr. Pat, goes through different things as well. It has its ups and its downs. All right.
Oh,
But still, the element of being affirmed, even at this age, and I'm not old, but I'm not young either,
right.
Right.
looks different,
Gotcha.
feels, and
Gotcha.
it comes from my wife differently.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And I think again, most times people just believe that we're one dimensional and we don't evolve and we don't grow. And so, Donnie, I want you to speak to the evolution of you, because who you were 5 years ago may not be who you are now, who you were 10 years, how you define things, how you communicate
Right.
things, how you respond to things. You've evolved. So let's just talk a little bit about that process in
Real
your
talk.
world.
Real talk, Dr. Pack. I think that's a tremendous, and Dr. Atkinson, great intro. I think, the evolution of Donnie has been interesting because I have to realize that it's not all about me. And it's not all about me. It's not all about my likes and dislikes. I have to, that word, one of the most important words that I'm learning, and notice I said learning because, like you said, we're constantly evolving, trying to get better. But I have to always understand the word sacrifice. Sacrifice is so important. And it shouldn't be one of those things that you look at as a burden. It's a blessing. So when you sacrifice for someone you love, not sacrificing everything, but if I can sacrifice my selfishness, because we all have selfishness. We all have those things that, like you said, Dr. Atkinson, we are ego driven in many cases. If I can sacrifice something so that she might have, something and some happiness, that is so important. So what I'm learning is to give more, not only receive, but give more. How can I give? How can I learn? How can I be more in tune with you? How can we converse to make sure that we're one? Because, it's something difficult when you take two opposite creatures and you combine them into one. And that is what marriage is. I'm telling you, it is a constant metamorphosis, and it's a process. It ain't just saying I do at the altar. It's every day coming closer together until we can merge into one. So I'm honored. I'm thankful that I married the most patient woman in the world, because every day I'm learning. But I will tell you, Doc, evolution is important, and that's what I'm learning. Sacrifice is important.
I will say if your wife is watching, you're going to get blessed because of that answer. So we
I
bless God.
received that, Doc.
Let's kind of curve it a little bit and kind of dig in a little deeper when it comes to communicating what you want. What do you believe is a healthy way to do that?
Is that for anyone?
We'll start with Marcel.
Yeah, I think a healthy way to communicate is to be a good listener, right? To be a good communicator, you have to listen, and when you're listening, make sure you're understanding what they're communicating as well. For me, I always wanted to be understood when I'm in a relationship with someone, making sure that they are hearing my heart and my words. And when I'm sharing my heart and my words, and it just go in one ear and out the other ear, I'm asking, are you really for me? Are you really for me? So, to communicate effectively so we can get.
So what you're saying is not being heard can be a deal breaker.
Yeah, not being heard
That's right.
can be a major deal breaker. Absolutely.
Wow. Pastor Atkinson, he's ready to go get
that,
it, sir.
that communication is one of the number one reason marriages don't make it. And that is a tough, Dr. Peck, that is a tough thing when we talk about communication. And when we do so, I think of the 5 love languages, the book, the 5 love languages. And I think in communication, especially from a man's perspective, all right, let me say that, is that we've got to be more in tune with our wives' love languages. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So that when communicating, Marcel said something very powerful. He says to be a good communicator means first you must be a first listener, a good listener. In that, if I know my wife's love languages, all right, I then know how to listen. I know how to. I know what I'm getting. Also, I say to that impact as well, and Minister Donnie as well, is that knowing my wife's history, her family history.
Yes.
Family, I tell in premarital counseling, I tell the young brothers, I said, listen, if you haven't, take time now to sit around family gatherings and see them interact, see them communicate, see them talk with one another, and matter of fact, and just see them move around. It will tell you a lot about how you need to communicate to your wife. Because her communication is built into her from the environment and the atmosphere from which she has been raised.
Wow.
That's right.
So if you get and you talk, you wonder why she's hollering. Well, she's getting hollering from somewhere.
Right.
You want to know why she may not respond to a male's voice when you go to the family house and there's no men around.
Wow.
It's going to be difficult for her to respond to a man's voice.
Wow.
Right? So that whole product of environment, knowing your wife's love languages, I would say the second part is knowing the history. And those two in collaboration with one another, I think, prayerfully, let me say that, would help with the communication part.
Wow. I mean, that was $1 million answer. Somebody, if they listened to what was just communicated, it would help save them some time and some trouble. Because I teach about paradigms often. You all know a paradigm is a worldview. And so
yes, sir.
Paradigm is developed by 3 things: by education, association, and socialization. Education, how you're learning, who's teaching you; association, who you're connected to; and then socialization, the atmospheres that you're in.
Come on, Doc. That's it.
Break a paradigm because you get mad and get upset. You don't break a paradigm because you have a conversation. And so, Donnie, I want you to jump in, and I kind of want to ask you a little bit of your business because I want to help somebody as it relates to growing in your relationship, there had to be some things that were discovered, not,
Mm,
things you didn't like, some things where you felt like you were not getting the best at that time. And you had to say, okay, we're going to work in this area. We're going to help improve this area. Let's
right.
talk about that process, because we don't do it by force and by screaming and yelling,
That's
but
right.
there is a process to that. And so give somebody some wisdom on growing in that particular area.
Man, I'm 100% clear with that. I think, Doc, I think that's a great question because I think one of the problems that I wish that had been different coming into marriage. I've been married for 7 years. To God be the glory. And I'm young in it, but I wish going in, people would have painted a picture that marriage is work, but it's good work. And I don't think we paint that enough. But I will tell you, real talk, it is work. One of the issues that my wife and I talk about often that we faced is the communication issue. I'm an extrovert. I like to run my mouth a mile a minute. As soon as it comes up in my head, I'm talking about it. She's more introverted. She would rather think on it. She needs some time to digest it. So one problem that we're running into is, if there was an issue, I'm one of those guys. Paul said, don't let the sun set on your anger. I'm that type. We ain't gonna let nothing set. If we got an issue, we gonna handle it. She looking at me like, bro, like I need to go to sleep. I ain't want to talk about this right now. It's not a big deal. And what I had to learn is I have to respect her space. I have to respect what she needs because my thing is, I'm gonna do what God said do.
Gotcha. Okay, there was a little bit of technical difficulty. He
Yeah, I think
froze.
awesome.
But the beginning of that answer was incredible, and he ended about talking about space and again evolution and growth. Markel, I ask you something. We haven't met before, other than this platform, but I
Mhm.
believe kind of know old school and new school. You have a reference of both entities. What would you say is the difference between the old school woman and the new age woman?
Wow.
Well,
Doc,
okay.
Dr. Pack, you bringing it tonight, man.
I'm trying. We got to give them what they want tonight. We got to give them what they want.
So can you explain what you mean on that, please, a little bit more? Can you expound on the
Well,
question?
the women that raised me are
Okay.
totally different than the women who are being raised now. Of course, grandmother is a different age, how they view honor, how they view independence, how they even view marriage. To a great degree, those definitions are different. But what would you say is different from those who raised you versus those who you see being raised now?
Yeah, I think for me, I've seen a difference in the women that raised me or the older generation is that they it seems like from the front end that they want to be respected and respect their relationships. From the younger generation, um, they sometimes don't want to be respected or don't respect their relationships because of how men treat them, how men speak to them. Right, you wouldn't allow anyone to speak to you any kind of way. The older generation, again, would not tolerate that in the front, right, of seeing that. But I've learned even as time goes by, even some older generation have tolerated things, and they knew how to respond in those situations. But I guess the younger generation have sometimes the tendency to not respond the right way. They act out. They don't stay their ground. And I want to get in trouble, but I got to speak the truth in terms of situations where they're in a relationship where they are, responding negatively and speaking down to the man, right? Even when they feel like they are right, right, or wrong, they're speaking down to the man. And the older generation, they just stood their ground, right, because they wanted to gel the family together, right? So I think for me, that's a difference in terms of the older generation versus the new generation. I hope I didn't lose anybody in that.
Great. No, great answer. Pastor Atkinson, let's jump in.
Because I do have young, I don't want to say they're young adult daughters. They're adult daughters now. One is 26, the other one's about to be 28. And when I think about that, Dr. Pack, there is a true difference between the generations, whether you say millennials or would you say Generation Z, from compared to my wife and our mothers, and even before then, as Marcel was stating, that that there was a level of dignity. There was a level of respect. There was, I love what Marcel says, was at least in the forefront. You know, in public, we know how to, let's deal with it this way. And then, yes, even in private, we may deal with it a different way, but we do it in a way of respect. Okay. And so when I think about the older generation, respect, the whole level of integrity, they had a stick-to-itiveness about it, about them. They just wasn't going to walk away easily from things. Newer age, newer generation, just because I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of male presence. All right. Now, I understand from slavery on back that there was a tendency to not have male presence because of the influence of slavery or Jim Crow. All right. But as we move more closer, we think about this: 50% of marriages end up in divorce. That's Christian or non-Christian. All right. In America right now, 60 to 65% of Black children will grow up in a single parent household. All right. So when we think about that, most households do not have, in essence, a male presence. Okay. And of the 65% of the kids who grow up in a single parent household, 90% of them are raised by women, mothers, grandmothers, or aunts. All right. So therefore, when I think on that, I understand at times how it is if a woman may not be able to know how to, in essence, be respected or loved by a man, how to be talked to by a man. And Marcel says something very powerful, whereas, we hear the words in entertainment, music, of degrading words about our women, to our women. That is something, that we just, in our age group, just didn't come up with.
Right.
We talking about, the temptation was, treat her like a lady. I can't sing, but, we were talking about treat them like a lady.
Right.
To now be in this, and the more that is heard, the more is received, the more it's received, the more it becomes my norm. The more it becomes my norm, the more it becomes my action. Wow. And so therefore, my reaction to it is, this is how I'm supposed to be treated.
Wow. Donnie, great answer, brothers. Great answers. But Donnie, I'm getting ready to set you up. You clicked off before, so we're gonna let you back next. I want to answer that. I believe that a lot of women from the older generation, I saw more class in that generation. Like, I saw ladies. Now we see women, and we see more attention placed on being sexy than it is being classy.
Yes.
But I want to jump in, and because me and my brother, we have this conversation, that I believe sexy is also spiritual. And so I want to talk about that. Donnie, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right. So we'll start with, I guess we'll start with Marcel there. Because sometimes as Christians, we say, long as they God-fearing, as long as they anointed.
I don't know if you can hear me, Doc. I'm trying to get back in. It says I'm in the waiting room right now.
Okay, hopefully they'll add you to. Okay, thank you. Hopefully they'll add you to that next one. Merge you in. Okay. All right. So Marcel, again, a lot of times when people deal with Christian men, at least single men, or you'll get women who say, I'm praying for you, and they'll give you all the spiritual dynamics. but physical beauty does matter. Being attracted to the person that you're with does matter. Being turned on by the person you're with does matter. Let's speak to that, because let's just deal with the elephant in the room. Because somebody's watching, saying, "Long as he know my heart, it's good." And
Yeah,
praise the Lord.
it does matter, and I call it the gift. Hey, can I just I shared something. I wrote something for the day, and I said men want the right gift, and not every gift in front of them to open. And what I mean by this, I hope you guys can follow me on this. For example, growing up during Christmas time, my brothers and I were asked, what did we want for Christmas? And we always knew what we wanted, and we were very specific and excited to see if we would get what we asked for. The moment Christmas came and we opened up that gift, we were excited to find out we got what we asked for at that time. However, at times we got things we didn't ask for, and our excitement wasn't the same, but we still were appreciative of the gift. But the excitement and the reaction, it was different because what we originally asked for wasn't the same. So men want a gift that was originally signed to them, like Adam recognized the gift that God gave him was Eve. So for me, like you said, I know who I am, right? I know what came out of me. I know what comes out of me. I know my presentation. I know I present myself in certain environments, right? So that's what I want to open up. I want to open up that same thing that came out of me. I want to have that same excitement. And again, for me, I want that thing that that I'm attracted to, which is me.
Wow.
In a sense, with Adam and Eve, if you think about it from that perspective.
That was a great response. Thank you so much. Pastor Atkinson, the physical does matter. Spiritual is great. Emotional is great. But you want to like what you're looking at. After 18 years, talk to us and tell us, why does it?
Adam said, this is bone of my bone. But then he also said, this is flesh of my flesh.
Yes,
right.
I may have named everything in the garden, but nothing looks like this right here.
Right.
Eve is sexy, and I like what I see.
Yeah.
And after 18 years being in my 50s, man, when I met my wife, I was 6'3", 205, wearing a size 32 in the waist. All right, but Dr. Pack, Marcel, I'm 6'3", 245. I'm coming off. I think the scale said 245. My eyes aren't good, But as you mature, as you get to know one another, the gift. I love the way Marcel described the gift. The understanding is every gift isn't made for you to open. But one of the things that I do realize and understand is that we do change. And as we grow and mature, sexiness change. Because you wake up with each other every day, because you're around one another every day, because you deal with everything in life together. To be sexy when your marriage matures and grows becomes more intentional. Wow. It becomes more intentional. All right. It means that I've got to continue to grow to see my wife as sexy. All right. And vice versa. But then also to understand, I say this to her sometimes and she laughs. I said, I'm yours and you're mine. And I want what I want to see what I want to see. And vice versa. She ought to want to see on me what she wants to see.
Yeah.
Okay. Because in essence, no man should ever make her feel more like a woman than me.
Yeah.
And there should be no other man that can make her feel like a woman like me. All right. And so that appeal comes in, that sexual appeal, that appeal comes in because we continue to grow with one another, to learn one another as we grow older. I'm the one on here. I got gray in my beard. I hope the lighting isn't good so nobody don't see it. But part of that is to I want sexy, but I understand how sexy has grown and how it's matured.
Wow.
Right. And
Great
and so with that, we got to continue to be, but that's intentional. I laugh at my mom and dad. They've been married 54 years. Come out. and I just see them. They're like kids around one another. They always with one another. They hold hands with. They joke with one another. They got this. I'm like, yeah, you know, and you know. But what is that? What is that? That's the intentionality to continuously be sexy
Wow.
to one another, and understanding that I need to be sexy to her. So what is it that you want to see, smell, the way you want it to look like? How do you want me to touch you? How do you want me to speak to you? I've got to meet her need, and then she has to meet mine.
Wow. I mean, again, these are $1 million answers that somebody, if they would just pay attention, they'll be better because of it. You all keep mentioning Adam. And so I want to jump into something because we have limited time. But Marcel, it seems like some was burning. I don't want to.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something right here, man. Men do want an attractive face, but I would rather have an attractive spirit than attractive face, because even though that face can be tight and she can look good, but when she speaks and her heart is not right, I don't want to be around you. You can be disgusting. You can be fine as a dime, but that spirit has to gel with me, and if we ain't connected on that level, I can't be around you, right? And you'll try to make every excuse to say we are compatible in our features and our career and this and that. But if our spirit's not gelling, and we know, right, if our spirits are not connected on that level, because we're just not on one accord, we're always bickering and we're fighting. But at the same time, you know, I want to make sure that the spirit is just as attractive as the face and the
Yeah.
features and all that.
Yes, and I think that's what we're saying with when you become mature, sexy is not just thin waist and a shape and a face. It's way more because we're looking for purpose. And so you all keep talking about Adam and keep throwing it in. One of the misconceptions about relationships I found is that Adam was running the garden perfectly by himself. But God said it's not good for you to be alone, and pulled woman out of him, hear me, not to help him do what he was doing, but to help him do what he could not do on his own.
Yeah.
That sometimes in relationships, it's ruined because the person comes in to be a fixer for what you're already doing instead of an enhancer for what you couldn't do on your own. Pastor Atkins, I want to talk about that. When you found your favor and she came into your life, it helped enhance and grow. Let's speak to that because we don't need anybody to help us do what we can do.
Wow.
Help me do what I can't do.
Wow. Dr. Pack, hold up, Doc. I think we need another question because you answered that. Can we move to another question, brother?
Right.
I don't want to come behind that. I think what you say is powerful because the Bible says in Genesis 2, verse, I think it's 18, he says, and the Lord says, I will make a helper suitable for him, you know, one to walk alongside him, to walk with him. And so when you say that, what I also understand is that there is the Adam before the fall, and then the Adam after the fall. All right, and understanding that then, you know, now they have to work at this.
Right.
And I think it was it was a minister John. I hate he's not with us, but he says this is work.
Right.
All right. So therefore, now the relationship is work. And I'll never forget, I shared this with all my premarital counseling. It's something my dad gave me. He says, Neil, he says, each and every day I get up, me and your mom, we put on our hard hat, our tool belt, and our steel-toed shoes. And every day is a new day at us working to become one flesh.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you that right there is a mouthful. Because now we do have to work at this.
Right.
We have to work to love each other. Yes, we do have to work to communicate. Yes, we have to work to be sexy. We have to work to get through problems and issues and raising children. And we have to work at this. And so therefore our covenant with one another is to say that we're not going to give in
Yeah.
up or throw in the towel to the work.
Right.
All
And,
right. And you said
and
something, Dr. Pack. You said that, this is my bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She is there to enhance. And a man that finds a wife finds a good thing, but also finds favor. We always
right.
stop at good thing, but there's a comma there. And finds favor in the eyes of God. And
But
so
Pastor
that,
Atkinson,
yes,
Pastor
yes.
Atkinson, I want to jump in, but ask you, but does a man want help?
Wow. Now.
Because they always look at us as they the providers, they go kill it, they go make. But do we want help from the woman that God sends in our life?
If we know how to, I think Minister Donnie said this, if we know how to receive,
Mm.
we won't help. Because Adam had to receive Eve. All right? He didn't receive anything else that came before him, but he received Eve as a helper that was suited for him. And so therefore, men, listen, know how to receive. Because when you know how to receive, then you align your helper to do everything that Dr. Pack said in his intro to the question. Then you receive your enhancement. You receive your help. You receive the one who can help move you forward. We've got to also receive.
Right. That's great. That's great. Let me jump to Marcel because he's burning, and I can tell he wants to take a stab at this.
So I'm enjoying learning, man. I'm just enjoying learning.
But when you look at a mate, it's more than just, can we flirt? It's more than just wanting somebody around. Does a single man still want help?
Man, I speak from from past experience from a single hurt man doesn't want help, right? Because he needs help himself, right? So what I mean by that is until he finds the help that he needs for his individual self and self-care, then he could begin to be open to receive, as my pastor said, to receive help to enhance his ability and his God-given talents, skills that God has given him, right? So I believe his desire internally is to want what has already been there, giving to him since birth. However, I want to speak to this point from when trauma hits and when tragedy hits, when challenges hit. A female can't help a man. She can love him all she wants to, and she can buy him stuff. She can do everything in this world. She can think that she can change his life. But until he gets the help he really needs to address what he have experienced, it can be challenging and difficult. It can happen through the process, right, of developing and recovering in that space. I think Pastor said earlier, you have to know the signs and the behaviors of what one is experiencing, the history of one, to really understand and identify that you're not communicating to their pain, their hurt, but you are communicating to him. I think a lot of relationships that I've experienced have people communicating to their pain and their hurt, and they don't even know how to communicate to each other because there's so much that they have to unpack in relationships. So I think until, again, I know I may have drifted off again, but for me personally, it's hard and difficult to want help because I need help myself. But if I want something so bad, and I would say, I'll just go ahead and just get it because she ain't gonna listen. So why she, while I'm helping myself, she's just gonna come along the ride.
Wow, that's so amazing, and this is why I believe that you shouldn't tell me who you're over until you tell me who you're under. That it's important. I tell the daughters at my church, don't follow no man who ain't following another man.
My God.
It has to be somebody that can check you, whether it's father or mentor or pastor, some kind of leader because a man who is not under authority will
Mm,
oftentimes abuse his authority. And so
wow.
I honor time. I don't want to be accused of being long-winded, but I want to give both of you gentlemen an opportunity for final word. And this is the context. There's a man who is broken, who has tried to communicate, tried to share his heart, and he's not getting what he wants. And he's ready to call it quits. COVID-19 has forced him to be around somebody more often than he's used to.
Yes.
And now he's considering calling it quits. I want you to speak to that man, that woman, that relationship, and just give them some level of advice so they can move forward concerning this conversation. Pastor Atkinson, first.
First thing I would say, Pastor Pack, to that man or to that woman, that wife, that husband that are going through that right now, and as you said, the COVID-19 is exasperating it because we're locked up with one another even more. I would say to them right now that what first thing they need to do is to get with their pastor and begin to have their pastor speak into their life and help them understand where their issues are. That's one, because you need spiritual guidance. The second thing is from that, I would pray that they have someone older who's been in marriage a while, that is a good covenant brother and sister to them, that can hold them accountable and speak into them, not only life, but also can rebuke them. Okay.
Right.
The
Right.
third thing is, I believe that when they're in this kind of place as well, is that with that, then also, are you both ready to yield to one another, to heal with one another?
Wow. Wow.
All right. And I'm going to leave it at that because I wanted to, but I think those are the three things that I number one would suggest. Get with your pastor first. Come on, let's get your covering, the one who prays for you, the one who can speak life into you. Go to your pastor. You need counsel. The second thing is, who do you have around you that's in covenant with you, that does not want to see you broken, but wants to see you healed? And then how can you yield to heal one another? That's
Great.
the three things.
Great answer. Marcel, they may not be married yet. They're in a relationship. They put some time in, may even have a child. Life has just happened, and they feel like they're at a crossroads. Please speak to them concerning this particular subject.
Yeah, so definitely do like a needs assessment in your life. What's the most important thing you need right now in your life? You need God. Put Him as the center of your life, and allow Him to help you build your foundation, so you can build on something solid, as a rock to know. If when you're in a situation or a relationship, if you need that or not, because you need God, and you can be able to assess and analyze if you really need this person in my life. Can I survive? Do I need them to survive, or do I need them to live? Right. So you can really identify who you really are. All right. Before getting into a situation that will cause more destruction to your development, and to your path that God has you on. So really get to know yourself and spend time with yourself in a way that you are preparing yourself for a purposeful moment that's going to line you up for a purposeful experience that someone else will come because they're operating in that same space. So if both of you are operating a purpose, you will have a purposeful experience, and it will be the purpose that you guys are destined to be together.
Wow. Wow. These answers have been incredible, and I want to thank you gentlemen for adding content clarity to this conversation. And I believe that somebody was the better and the richer. Minister Donnie had technical issues, but what he shared tonight was phenomenal as well. Fresh Fire always gives us something fresh something unique, and I believe that was offered tonight. I want to close by saying, when we ask the question, what do men really want? One of the ways to figure it out is to ask him. Don't assume, but ask him. Just like our phones, we got to update it. And so with where you are now, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you desiring? What do you want to see? And I believe you'll be surprised with what the answer is. Let me pray real quick. Father, I thank you for everyone who's watching. And I pray that if they're living in confusion or frustration, that this be the seed planted to help give clarity concerning that person as an individual, that person as a partner, that person even in relationship and marriage. I pray that you would do that in Jesus' name. Amen. Again, brothers, thank you so much. And Overseer Moore, thank you for giving us this incredible opportunity to share. We are better because of this opportunity. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you all. I mean, we have received so much information, and y'all was deep tonight. I mean, y'all was kind of deep tonight. So thank you. I've been watching the comments all night, and the ladies have been commenting all night. So they have been in receiving mode as well. Minister Dunny had some issues, and we kept trying. And then finally he just said we didn't want to continue to be distracting. And so he actually just inboxed and said, listen, the next time we do this, make sure to let him know. So definitely we'll do that. And it will be a next time, because it's still so much more ground that could possibly be covered. But I got one more bonus question I need to ask all of y'all before we get off.
Wow.
If I'm in order, Dr. Pat.
Go ahead. It's your party. You can do it like you want to.
I'm under authority tonight. I have this. Again, this was all about what do men really want. And so my final question for all three of you, since Dunny is gone, Dr. Pack, you got to take his turn. And so my final question for all of you tonight is, what do men want physically? What do you want spiritually? What do you want emotionally? Pastor Atkinson.
Oh, wow.
Are we going to pick one, or we got to answer all?
No, all of them.
Okay, so spiritually,
physically, emotionally.
Emotionally, spiritually, for us to be on one accord.
Okay.
Physically, for us to be on one accord. And for mentally, you said mentally, I think it's
yes, or emotionally.
Emotionally, for us to be on one accord. Because if we can do that, we will satisfy each other abundantly in all three areas.
Amen. Yeah. All right, Marcel?
I would say emotionally, stabilization. Stabilize your emotions, stabilize them, balance them out, make sure you balance. And again, just balance that out. I would say physically, be honest with you, attractiveness, something that I can look at every day and not and not saying be disappointed, but feel like God is real. And he
That's real. Yeah.
God's real. And I'm grateful that you're real in my life, because I know he's real in my life.
Yeah.
And then spiritually, just like you said, just being on one accord, being in sync, knowing that God is in you. And I see him shining in you every day, the way you talk, the way you speak, the way you look, the way you carry yourself holistically, just knowing that God is the center of your life and he will never leave you, never forsake you.
Amen. Amen. All right, Dr. Pack, the final word. What do men want physically, spiritually, emotionally?
To be on one accord.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. No. I would spiritually, I would say integral. That not just a churchgoer, but someone who is really in tune with their God, because their God has to be able to navigate them through the relationship during tough times. Emotionally, someone who is honest because you can't get help emotionally until you realize where you are. And
Mm.
so they're honest about their emotions, what they're willing to, what they want, what they don't want, where they are, how they got there. They can actually get help. And then physically wanting somebody together. Not always just, because again, as Pastor said, life changes and things that used to be up go down, and and life happens, and this men are walking around looking pregnant these days. They ain't as thin as they used to be, but
Double smash. Oh.
at least be together, because
That's good.
as Marcel said, no man wants a trophy that doesn't shine, that
Mm.
you want to look over and say, that's my thing over there. And you want them to have the ability to, if you're in church too long, be able to look a certain way and make you give the benediction mid-sentence, because there's some things that need to be done in Jesus' name. And so we need them together, and that's my final answer.
Good answer. Good answer.
That's
Now,
good.
Listen, a trophy that does not shine. My God, today. Well, ladies, I hope you heard that. And I hope you are shining your trophies as we speak.
And I'm sorry.
Make sure, let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Amen. Again, I am so thankful. This has been fun. As I said, I am so appreciative of all of these brothers, all of these men of God, great men of God, who are trusted voices in the kingdom. And I am just excited to be connected to all of them in some shape, form, or fashion. If you have not followed them on social media, make sure you follow them, because they are always putting something out there to bless God's people. Dr. Jonathan Pack, Pastor Cornelius Atkinson, and my brother Marcel Anderson, who also has a project that you just released, or a project you just released. So make sure you follow him on his page. He's also over a nonprofit, Accelerating Men, and so he's that brother who's out there helping the young men. And again, these pastors, listen, they took time out of their schedules in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of going through their own stuff. And I love you guys to life, and I appreciate you all. I am particularly appreciative for Dr. Pack. If we were in the church walls, he will be finding his way from Texas to North Carolina just to peep in on us for one night of fresh fire. And so tonight, he did not let us down. He did not let me down. And I greatly, greatly appreciate that, sir. But, having so much going on yourself. And so I do appreciate that. All right, ladies, you've heard it from them yourselves. And so I pray that you will, as the old folks would say, govern yourselves accordingly. But there will be another. I don't know when, I don't know how long it'll take, but we're going to do this again. And ladies, we're going to do it from our perspective as well. And who knows, we may match it up and let them talk a minute and we talk a minute. We may just kind of do a battle or something. Who knows? But we're going to work it out. And we're going to get everybody back together on one accord so that we can talk this thing out. Because at the end of the day, you never know if you don't ask. And so this was our opportunity to receive tonight. Thank you all again for tuning in. For those of you that are registered, make sure you join me in the morning at 9 o'clock. Check your check your emails tonight for your Zoom link, and we're going to have an amazing time tomorrow. All right, I'm going to say good night. This was an amazing day, an amazing time. Thank you all again. I appreciate you all. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you all.
Bless you.
All right, y'all have a good one. Y'all have a blessed night, and we'll be chatting again real soon. Love y'all to life. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.